Hey everybody, it's Henry with the Film Buds podcast. Please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, please let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks. 80. Let's get to Extraction 2, which is a Netflix original. It's directed by Sam Hargrave, written by Joe Russo of Avengers fame and Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Civil War fame. Stars Chris Hemsworth, Golshifteh Farahani, who's amazing, love her, Adam Bessa, and a few others. And the synopsis is, after barely surviving his grievous wounds from his mission in Dhaka, Bangladesh, Tyler Rake is back, and his team is ready to take on their next mission. Great synopsis. So we did review the first Extraction back when it came out, and so you can check that out if you haven't yet. I did not like the first one pretty much at all. I thought it was pretty terrible in a lot of ways, and I was not really excited that they were doing another one. I like Chris Hemsworth a lot. He's really grown on me over the years. I think he's great in a variety of ways, but it was not one that I immediately sought out. This is about a year after it came out, I think. And I did hear, though, when it was released, that it got fairly good reviews. People said it was stronger than the first. So, okay, cool. I'll check it out eventually. And I think I was pleasantly surprised. I don't think it's an amazing movie. Like, I wouldn't put it on par with the best of John Wick or Mission Impossible or something like that. I think it does suffer from being a Netflix movie. I think if I got to see this in a theater, it would be better, but can't do anything about that. I just hate the Netflix or streaming service platform in that way, which I talk about a lot. Sorry if that's a broken record at this point. But the big thing that everyone talks about, there's a 25-ish minute, 20-minute long single take where it covers this entire action sequence from prison escape to being outside in the woods, driving around and being on a train. Like, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but that sequence, choreography wise, technically, is one of the most amazing things I've seen in a long, long time, especially when it comes to action. Like, Sam Hargrave is primarily a stuntman before directing these movies, and you see that for sure. Like, he, of course, focuses more on the action, which for this film and this franchise is a good thing. But that sequence with the level of choreography, the changing of locations, the camera work, the amount of extras, the fights, the explosions, the jumping from a vehicle to a train to being on foot, like, it's insane. Like, I cannot really give it enough credit. Talking about, like, you kind of have to see it for yourself, even if you don't like the rest of the movie or like the movie at all. There's no denying that that sequence is unbelievable. It's amazing, and I could watch that sequence over and over and over again. And it really does, I think, in the best way. It almost feels like a really cool Call of Duty mission for any gamers out there. Like, it really reminded me of how it's shot and how it's choreographed in the best way. It felt like a really fun Call of Duty or Medal of Honor mission. And so I love that. And most of it is practical. Like, it's mostly stunt work, choreography, fist fights, all that stuff. So I thought it just kept going and going and going. I was like, oh my God, how long can they keep this up? And so I will absolutely give Sam Hargrave full applause and credit for pulling that off, because I cannot believe how they managed to get that to work and have it all come together. So highly, highly recommend just seeing it for that alone. But I think Chris Hemsworth is great in this. Physically, he's great. He's got decent emotional range. I do think the reason I like this one a lot more than the first is, to me, they seem to realize the plot doesn't really matter. Because in the first one of the biggest issues was, for one thing, visually, I thought it looked kind of bad, but the plot was focused on way too much. Both movies are a little too serious, like self-serious, but the first one focused way too much on a plot that I did not care about. It was convoluted, didn't care to see what happened or anything like that. And this one, it's like, all right, let's spend 2 minutes, 5 minutes on a plot point, and then let's have a 20-minute action sequence to boot. I'm like, cool. Because, sorry, if maybe it's a hot take, I doubt it. Don't care about the plot really in these movies. There's a few little moments I'm like, wow, that's actually like kind of touching or effective, but they never linger on that too much, and effectively so. The rest of the action, very well done. It's very inventive, very unexpected, and keeps you on your toes. And even like the tactics, being in the military myself, I'm not an expert in any way, but the tactics of the gunfights and moving into a building, that seemed to be much more reminiscent and realistic as to what I've learned in my career so far. Maybe I'm in the minority there, I don't know, but to me at least how it's shot, how it's put together, that seemed to have more of a realism to it, and I like that. Good score. There are points where the CG is maybe a little questionable, but not a big issue overall. It's mostly practical from what I could tell. And I really like the Austria setting. That's really good. And I will, even though I don't think this movie is a 5 out of 5 masterpiece, I'll watch another, especially if they can keep up doing really, really creative action. I'm there for that because there's no denying that regardless of how good the story is or not, if you can put a great piece of technical action and production together, hey, that's impressive. You don't need to have everything be perfect. It's okay to just be action is my absolute strong suit, so I'm gonna go all out for that. That's fine, especially being a stuntman like Sam Hargrave is. So pleasantly surprised, as I said. Would recommend it. I think there are worse ways to spend 2 hours. I'll be there for Extraction 3. I think they've already announced that. So yeah, check it out. That is a heavy 3.5 out of 5.